Good afternoon, and welcome to Talk to Me with the coach, Michael E. MAYDEN, as we're live in the studio dealing with the issues and concerns that most concern you, the common people, as we have a number of events going on in this world today. We're going to sidetrack from sports today for all my sports fans out there. We're going to deal with community issues and concerns. We're going to talk about the Arizona law a little bit later in the show, so all of those you just tuned in and or those just tuned in by Blog Talk Radio, which we're streaming live over Blog Talk Radio to a worldwide audience. We're also going to talk about the crime going on in the city of Chicago, and we're going to talk about the upcoming election in November. First of all, we have a wave of crime going on in Chicago, and we have cries from our elected officials for the National Guards to come out and patrol the streets of Chicago. So we're going to address that with LaSHAWN Ford, state representative, who is one of those crying for the National Guards. How we doing today, State Representative? How we doing today? I think we got him on the line. Are you on our live line?
I'm here.
There we go. All right, how we doing today?
Just fine. Thank you for having me.
All right, we understand you're down in Springfield.
So we're back in the city. I'm back in the city meeting with community organizers, trying to see if we can get some resolve here.
All right, well, we have a wave of crime going on in Chicago, and it's kind of waking up the nation. I got a phone call from someone the other day that was concerned about the events they were hearing in Chicago. Actually, someone from Iowa called me. So you're proposing that we bring out the National Guards. What's the reasoning behind that?
Well, we have to show the community, taxpayers, and citizens that we can deter crime in neighborhoods and that we can work with any law enforcement agency to do that. Mm-hmm. The National Guard is some entity that the Chicago Police Department could call upon to ask to assist them and to work under the direction of Jody Weiss. Mm-hmm. The notion that the National Guard would come in with tanks and big guns and stand on a corner and take away individuals' First, Fourth, and Sixth Amendment, as Jody Weiss said, is wrong. Mm-hmm. The only way that would happen is if Jody Weiss, if it came in and Jody Weiss said, that's what I want you to do. Before calling on the National Guard, John Fritchie, Representative Fritchie, and myself, we spoke with National Guardsmen, and they said that this is something that they could do. They could come together and they can offer assistance in a respectful way to the citizens of Chicago. And that's why the call was made, because Jody Weiss claimed that there are there's a shortage of police in the city of Chicago, and the citizens of Chicago understand that, and they realize that, because the response time in certain communities are longer than others.
Well, I mean, there's a couple issues out there. Number one, the public don't believe that it will make any difference to bring the National Guards into their community. That's one concern. So how would you respond to that?
Well, anytime you have a increased number of officers working to deter crime, there will be some positive response. And so I think that that's not true. Mm-hmm. That if you have an increased presence of police, then you will reduce crime. Right now, if you see police on the corner, criminals not going to commit crimes right there. For the most part, they will be deterred. They may move and go to a different spot.
Yeah, but you are aware that if we redeploy police officers in the city of Chicago, we have communities where they're not high crime areas, and we have overabundance of police officer patrolling those areas. If you take those police officers and redeploy them where the need is at, then you would address that concern. So really, the news media and the police department is really playing a game with the minds of the people to say that we're down 700 police officers when they're not really addressing that If I get shot, you take me to the emergency room. You don't take me to the doctor's office. So you put priority where the need is at, and that's what Jody Weiss, Mayor Daley, and the city of Chicago is not doing.
Exactly.
That's my concern. I would like to see yourself and other elected officials hold press conference and really speak out where the real issue is at.
Well, the real issue is we've called the Chicago Police Department and Mayor Daley and Jody Weiss to the table to say that, you could do something about this. Mm-hmm. So right now they already are on record saying we don't need help, right?
They're on record, but they're not really addressing the problem by deploying police officers where the needs are at.
Well, that's my point. So if they're on record saying they don't need help, the next step is to prove it. To deploy the police where they need to be deployed. Reduce the crime in those 9% city blocks that you say the crime is taking place. If you say that the crime is targeted in 9% of the city blocks, then why don't you get them there? I think that the issue is on the table, and anytime you have 80% of the people that's being killed in the city by violent crimes being African Americans, then we should be outraged.
Yeah, and then there's another concern when I look at police officers that should be patrolling the street, running around writing tickets. You're misemploying what the police are supposed to be doing out there.
And I know someone that got pulled over by the police today. They said that they made a right turn on red, and there were 2 police officers right there pulling them over. 2.
Well, if you want to go that route, let me give you an incident that took place about 3 weeks ago. I was coming down my community, 34th Ward, 119th State, southbound, making a right-hand turn. Police officer going eastbound on 119 made a U-turn in the middle of the intersection. 5 blocks later, police behind me pulling me over for no city sticker when I have a vehicle that's not even registered in the city of Chicago. It's registered business outside the city of Chicago.
Yes.
So, these are things that need to be addressed. They're out there trying to make revenue off tickets, fines, and fees.
That's right. And that's the same thing that I was told this morning by the resident of Austin, that the police made a U-turn to come and get them. And here's the other problem that we have. The Chicago Police Department say that they want the citizens to break the code of silence. Well, I think that they should exchange with the citizens and say, you break the code of silence and we will adhere to the code of silence to protect you. If you tell, we won't tell who told. Well, and I think that's what the problem is.
Well, we have to address the code of silence with the police officers. I got another show that we're waiting for the police department to reply back to have a representative deal with the code of silence, which they have not, because they really don't want to address the truth. They want to give illusions over the media, but they're not dealing with the real issues in our community. That's what concerns me. Now, I'm concerned when we talk about the National Guards when it's not needed. You can redeploy. And my other concerns, we talk about the National Guards. I've been involved with youth for over 30 years, and we have no programs in our community to offset crime among our youth to catch these kids at first, second, third grade. And when I look at a $1.2 billion public safety budget for the city of Chicago, a $1 billion for the county of Cook, and a multi-billion dollars for the state of Illinois, I'm concerned that yourself and other state representatives are not proposing laws to redeploy the flow of wealth into youth programs to prevent these kids, prevention programs, as opposed to a cry for the National Guards to come out.
Well, I think that we have to do it all. We can't just be tunnel vision and work on one angle at a time, because you have people that are out there deep in the streets that will hurt the investment that we're trying to make in the schools, in the after-school programs, because there's a life of crime that breeds new individuals. So we have to figure out how we can weed out at the same time while we're investing in educating and the after-school programs. We have to weed out the elements of crime. So I know that me in Springfield and other members in Springfield are working hard to restore funds, to put more money in education and provide more opportunities.